just know that this person is interested in cricket or golf or whatever, and then they know that this person has just bought a house or they just bought a car or going to buy a car. They know all those things, and based on what you're doing, and they analyze this, right? And then the point is, in order to analyze this well enough, they have to keep writing data for this particular user. Typically, they store it anonymously in the sense that they don't know who the person is, but they know enough about the fact it is a person who they have seen before. This matching has to happen in real time. So there's a user waiting there with a web page open. You clicked on the website, and then within a millisecond or whatever, 10 milliseconds, there's a bidding algorithm going on. People are bidding for advertisements, and then they're delivering the ads to the particular user. And what is so hard about this is not the fact that they're serving ads. This has been happening for like a decade or plus. What's interesting is that people want to serve ads which are relevant to that particular user. Now that is hard. Because if you have 500 million users, and as I've shown there, each of them is 10 kilobytes of data, you can do the math. Try keeping that in memory. That's a lot of memory you would need. And that actually is interesting, because not only is the memory expensive, it results in a whole number of servers, because there are limits to how much memory you can put on each server. I mean, I'm talking about DRAM. And the end result is that it just would be too expensive to solve this problem. This is not a banking application. Each of these things, by the way, has money writing on it. But the money is like in fractions of cents or whatever, small amounts of money. Okay, but there is a lot of transactions. So overall, there'll be millions of dollars on it. But individually, it's like minuscule, right? So you can't really afford to put in like 200 rack systems on it. You just want commodity hardware. So that's kind of the basic motivation of the one kind of problem. There are many problems like this. Okay, we can go on and on for like a whole day on this. So I'm going to stop here. By the way, if you have any questions, I don't know what the process is here. Do we do it at the end of the?
They can ask
okay.
questions even at the
okay. So fine. If you have questions, please do ask. You can ignore the last sentence because this part is not supposed to be seriously fine. Yes. Yes, please.
Specifically on noSql, but about the citrus leaf itself, when it comes real time, do you store it in your server, the data? So basically, you match what I understand.
Oops. So the question was, if we store the data in our server, the answer is yes. I mean, we are a database, so all of the data I'm talking about here are stored in Citrus Leaf. But if somebody else would solve this, then they would also store it in their system. Like Cassandra, for example, would store it in their system, and then you would do the matching using that. So that's the idea here. It is not stored in a legacy database, if that's the question.
One of the previous projects 2 years back, we tried storing Facebook status updates onto our server, but there was a terms and condition where they can't retain the data more than 24 hours, as per Facebook. Just trying to understand, it is passed through, is that a roundabout way, or will it be flushed out after 24 hours?
The question is, if we wanted, I'm going to paraphrase it, if we wanted to throw data away after 24 hours, what happens? Citrus Leaf supports it. We have a LRU process, and you can claim, a lifetime of a database. We typically, our customers use 60 days. 24 hours is fine. It's specified in seconds anyway, so you can make the thing 10 seconds if you want. But the point is, yeah, definitely yes. This is one more thing, right? I mean, as I pointed out in the previous slide, and to me this is a little bit of a fluff. The market size is huge because the problem exists everywhere, and the key thing is the user stickiness is driven by real-time data. So if you can't do updates real time for a user when they are coming to your website, and if you want to make the Facebook updates show up for that user, they're really not interested in updates from yesterday. They really, as you point out, if you can store 24 hours of data, you can have probably enough interesting things that are happening. Because I personally, I don't know how you guys use Facebook, but I'm not really, I'm too old to use Facebook the right way. So I just use it the way I use it, which is essentially I just look at it once in a while, and if there is something interesting there, I react. And the more interesting way I've used it is I have posted their information, like for example, I'm now looking for some to set up a team in India for Citrus Leaf. So I just put a post there saying I'm looking for it. And the beautiful thing was I actually got a friend of mine who responded to that. And I went and spoke to that company in Pune actually yesterday. So this actually works, and all of this happened within a week. I mean, posted, got the information, contacted, go to the place, come back. Facebook is amazing, right? And that kind of vitality is the important thing, and it is real for even people like me. I cannot imagine for like younger folks how important that's going to be. And across all these verticals, right? I mean, you can think about real-time advertising, social media, social gaming, doesn't matter. There are these large-scale websites and databases across all of these happening. And this is my belief, okay, that this is going to continue. And there are people who are now investing a whole bunch of money, which is kind of always interesting to me, because I've been in this industry for about 20 years, and every time I've kind of moved on from like the original database thing to interactive TV, and a whole bunch of investments happen, and I think it's still happening because none of them really broke through, but I left it, and then mobile, which grew, and now I think this kind of data is also going to grow, and this is being driven by, it's almost like it's driving the mobile growth, and it's being driven by the mobile growth. It's almost like mobile grows, it produces more data, and then if you didn't have a database like many of these databases we talk about today, you wouldn't be able to handle that data. And then when you handle the data, you get more growth. So it's almost like a feedback cycle of data happening, of real time. I'm in this, right, I'm not talking about analytics. I don't know if I'm really talking about mission critical data, which applications you need to use to handle user requests on a real-time basis. And that has not actually had a lot of attention. All of the attention over the last 10 years has been on analytics, where people are crunching terabytes and petabytes of data now to figure out how to make the business go forward. Now, what I'm talking about is how to optimize on the user on a daily and a minute-by-minute basis what's going on your website, on your actual mission-critical application. And that's a totally different ballgame, because at that point, you need to actually be able to respond to these actions in near real time. Okay, so that's a big difference.
So, let me ask a question.
Please.
So these stock trading houses, they tend to do trading at sort of very, very real time.
Yes.
And sometimes when people from noSql go talk about, these sort of high intense write transactions are not possible, it's sort of very hard for them to sort of believe such things are possible. In the pre-noSql era, right? People have been doing stuff.
Yeah.
So you're saying it is really the cost at which we do that? Is that
It's not just the cost. That's a great question, Suresh. The question for the people who are watching it on the streaming is regarding this. Now, what I talked about was we need to do high read-write ratios or whatever, lots of writes, and then do it in real time. And Suresh's question was, well, it's happened forever. The answer is yes. Tandem, has done this for 25 years. So everything I'm talking about here, by the way, and this is my belief about computer science, is, it's the same thing we did 20 years ago, okay, in one sense. But it's totally different in another sense. The way it's different is that we now have commodity hardware. So I can actually build, which is powerful enough. The commodity hardware is powerful enough that we can actually build a tandem equivalent for like $30,000.
that's what I said. So
right?
now